8-55, simplify each expression. Okay, so our first one here is 6 to the 5th power. And the best way to simplify that is just to take all these 6's and multiply them out. So we're going to have 5 6's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so if I multiply these two together, it's 36. And then 6 times 30, well, then these two are 36. And then there'll be a final 6. But if I multiply these two 36's together, let's see what that will be. So I'm doing this without a calculator because it's good to do that. So 30 times 30 is 900. 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 30 again is 180. And 6 times 6 is 36. So if we add all these together, 900 plus 200 is 1100 plus 160, so that's 1260, and then the 36. So 1260 plus the 36 is going to be 1296. So, and then we've got one more 6 we have to multiply that by. So that's 6, 36. 54, 57, 5 is going to be carried. 2 times 6 is 12, 17, and 1, so that will be 7. So that grand total is going to be 7,776. And of course, we can always check that by using our calculator. So let's see, the base was 6. I'll put that in, and then I'll use this function and put in the exponent, and that turns out to be 776. So I know that this is correct for A, 776. Okay, so let's look at the next one, which is 2/3 to the 3rd power. So in this case, that's going to be equal to 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. And if we just multiply these across, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. And so that's what this one will be equal to. Now this one's a little different. This is more like an order of operations problem because we need to figure out and remember PEMDAS is kind of our guideline. And we know parentheses are first, then exponents. So we need to resolve what's inside the parentheses. So that's going to be equal to 5. And then it would be 5 to the 4th power. And so that is equal to 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 25 is 125. And then 5 times 125 turns out to be 625. Okay, and we can check that again with our calculator. So we've got 5 as the base, and then we'll use that function, and we'll put in 4 as the exponent, and that is 625. So that confirms the answer we got by calculating ourselves. Okay, so this one is even more an order of operations. So first we need to do what's inside the parentheses. Then we'll do the exponent, which is to the third power. And finally, once we know what all of that is, we will multiply it times 2. So that would be the next part here, multiplication and division. Okay, so if we add these two together, we really need to have a common denominator to do that. And we know that 1/2 is actually 2/4. So a negative 2/4 added to a positive 3/4 would leave you with 1/4. And so what this would look like then would be 2 times 1/4 to the third power. Okay, so if we multiply this 1/4 3 times by itself, the way we would do that is multiply across. So 1 times 1 times 1 is just equal to a 1. And then 4 times 4 is 16. And 4 times 16 is going to be 64, I think. So let's check that with our calculator. Okay, so 4 is the base, and then we'll use that function and the power of 3. Okay, so that was 64, so that's correct. So inside the parentheses, well, this part is 1/64. And so now what we have is 2 times 1/64. Okay, and we know that will be, this is really 2 over 1, so then we can multiply across. 2 times 1 is equal to 2, and 1 times 64 is equal to 64. Okay, but because both of these are divisible by 2, we know that we can simplify this a little more. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided into 64 is 32. So this is the final answer, the most simplified form that we can get for D. Okay, and I think I'm going to put a D right next to it because it's hard to tell. Okay, so there we are.